What is going on, guys? Welcome to videos, and welcome back to my WTF series reviews, where I review something so bad that it's good, or something so bad that I would much rather drink a gallon of donkey piss. Because when's the last time I reviewed something so bad that was actually good on this channel? I don't remember. This is a request from Nico from New World Nerds. This is his second recommendation, and I don't know how this motherfucker does it, but the first review he requested was of Teeth. I heard about stories of this movie, but I looked at this, I'm like, it's got like 70-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. I watch it, it was awful, it was dog shit. He recommends this. We come together, they come together, whatever, I don't fucking care. And I saw it was like 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, what if I like it? Because, you know, that's a high chance. Then I remember, it's Nico, so I watched it. It was total dog shit. And romance comedies are not even my favorite genre on top of that. Like, I love the Big Six, so I like romance comedies when they're good. But for the most part, I just don't like them. So put that on top of a fucking parody, which I do not like parodies at all. I only like one, and that was Spaceballs, and I barely like that. We're in for a great time. This stars Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, I believe is her name. And they're sitting at a table in a diner or a restaurant, whatever, telling their story how they met. And they exclaim, this is how I knew it was a parody. I didn't know it was a parody. Like, I kind of knew, but I didn't know to the extent. We're like the main characters of a romance comedy. Like, I'm the good-looking who's slightly Jewish. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like the quirky, messy-uppy girl character. Whoo! I don't have the energy to do this, dude. I really don't. Parodies just suck the shit out of me. They suck my soul out. It's hard. I'm trying to put on a show, but it's fucking hard. I hate this. Normally, this is the part where I would just like kind of run through the plot so you guys know what I had to sit through and you guys get an understanding of what this movie is about. Because I feel like that's a better way of reviewing like these kinds of bad movies, so you guys get context on what I'm complaining about. I'm not going to waste my fucking time on that, and I'm not going to waste your time on that. You know why? Watch any, and I mean any romance comedy movie, you saw this movie. But this has less talent. And I feel bad because I love Paul Rudd, and I really enjoy Amy, I keep trying to want to call her Amy Schumer. I really enjoy Amy Poehler. I love her on Parks and Rec. But wow, they're not funny in this. My problem with parodies is that they're just poking jab at a particular genre or a particular film. There's nothing ever really unique about them. It's not like, okay, let's have separate jokes, or like, hey, let's actually have our own story. No, they're like, let's retread this already said genre that some people love, not do anything original with it, but poke fun at it. I don't find that funny. I just don't. Like, the only parody that didn't do that was 22 Jump Street. Before you guys say that's not a parody, it is a parody on comedy sequels. But the difference is they had their own story. Weirdly enough, even though a lot of it was actually kind of twisted and turned into the like comedy sequel tropes, and they poked fun at that, but they still had their own plot line. And guess what? Fun fact, you can joke about other things than just being like, oh, we're a comedy sequel. We're a romance comedy. If you guys have ever seen any romantic comedy, you've seen this movie. And the way this plot is structured, it's actually insane how sloppy it is. It's so sloppy. It's like, there's times where it's fast-paced. Like, okay, we needed to get this trope in there really quick. Okay, we needed to get this weird joke in there, so let's just write that in there. Some of these scenes last like 15, 20 seconds, and it was supposed to be like its own setup to something. Like, Paul Rudd, I don't know why, but like midway through the movie, he was getting ready to fuck his grandmother. Why? I don't know. I don't know what that was supposed to be making fun of. Was it funny? No. That was like the most scary movie humor I've ever seen in this movie. Oh god, I got a headache. Like, he grabbed her ass, and it was a like obviously like some teenagers or like mid-20s chick's ass. Like, I'm like, Oh God, I hate it. I honestly hate parodies so much. They're so talentless. One of the worst jokes. No. The worst joke in this movie is when Paul Rudd is talking to this bartender, and he messed up with Amy Poehler, I think, and then he's like, I had a shitty day. And then the guy's like, oh, that sucks. And he's like, yeah, you could tell me that again. And then something like that. He was talking about something. And they legit recycled the lines because he kept saying, oh, you could tell me that again. Or you could say that again. And he's like, oh, tell me about it. So that forced the bartender to repeat the same lines. I think it was like a full sentence, like probably 10 words. I don't remember, and I don't want to remember. So the bartender would repeat his lines. Paul Rudd would just respond, tell me about it. He would repeat his lines. He's like, oh, you could say that again. And then he would repeat. That joke felt like it went on for an eternity. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it probably went on for 2 minutes. Just of that joke. I honestly almost threw my phone at the wall. And I wish I was kidding. Because at this point, I'm laying down on my phone, on my chair right now. I was laying down. I'm just like kind of watching it at distance because I didn't want to be invested. I was just laying down, and then I heard that, and my eyes went like, it just kept going. It wouldn't shut the fuck up. They kept saying it and saying it, and then the guy was like, okay, we get it. The guy who was listening to the story, he's like, we get it. Just move on. I'm like, thank God. I made this statement before on this channel and on this series. It's hard to review this. Harder to review this because... Not because there's nothing to talk about. It's because there's no plot when you really think about it. When there's nothing unique. I just explained you to the plot in one sentence. Ever watch a romance comedy? Yeah, there. I just explained the plot to you. What is there bad about it? The jokes. I was not invested. I didn't care. It's so bad. I'm not faking this. I'm not faking it. Like, I'm honestly tired. What time is it? It's only 5:30. And I feel like it's like 11 o'clock. I think this series is starting to finally crack me. I think it's starting to crack me. It's so bad. There's a sequence where Paul Rudd's finally... I'm just going to call them by their actors' names. Paul's like, I'm going to meet your family, Amy. This is exciting. And then there's a thing where, like, they're clearly hiding behind the curtains. And there's the mom is like trying to like strip. Is like, you wanna fuck me? And I'm like, and he's like, I love your daughter, Miss whatever Amy's last name is. I'm like, you guys been together for probably 2 days because the time management in this story is total dog shit. But whatever, that's the least of my concerns. Now what day of the week it is. Then Amy comes out of the curtains with her dad, and he's like, oh my God, you're like the first boyfriend she's ever had that didn't fuck your mom. I'm like, and then they went into descriptive detail on how her exes would bang their mother. And if you thought that scene was already cringe enough, it gets better. Apparently, Amy's father and mother are supremacists. They're white supremacists. I got nothing. And then the ending. What was with the... If you guys have seen this movie, what's with that ending? So, she's getting married to Stu from The Hangover. And they're getting married. She's like, I can't do it because you don't notice me with these glasses on. So this is Amy Poehler, like when they get engaged. Then she gets these like fucking like the glasses with the nose and the eyebrows and shit like that. And she's like, if I put these on and they know there's something different, then I know they're the one for me. So she goes like this. They get married, and then she's like, do you notice anything different about me? He's like, nope. Clearly there's a big bushy mustache. Whatever. What the fuck ever. So she says, you're not the one for me because you don't notice the difference. So she runs away. She's gonna... Paul runs from sequence to sequence trying to find her, trying to be funny, like, oh, you always know where they would go in their heart. Then he's like, oh, not here. Oh, not there. Oh, there she is. And then they try to get married, and then like I think things happen. One thing happens, definitely a thing happens. Then after that said thing happens, her abusive husband or ex-husband comes into the picture, who's father to her child, because yeah, Amy's got a child in this, and it's Zod from Man of Steel. I'm forgetting his name. I definitely remember him from Kangaroo Jack. He was the villain in Kangaroo Jack, but he comes in there running with a fucking sword and tries to kill Paul, and then Paul just beats him up. No, the scene's not over. The scene's not over. Let me put my glasses on before you guys have an aneurysm. I don't know. I was going somewhere with this. Like, I feel my brain cells exploding, trying to process what's going on. After that happens, they don't get married. They actually, they just date for another year. Then they get married. And then everyone's like, oh, that's a sweet story. And they're like, yeah, now we divorced. And then it's because the candy shop that Amy was taking care of just went to shit. Paul's dream job of owning his own coffee place went to shit. And then they realized that they were going to be better off as friends. And then they were like, maybe we should be back together. And then Paul looks at the camera and is like, I told you this was going to be a wild story. No more parodies. No more. If you guys fucking request me one more parody, I'm gonna snap a bitch. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna have a legit aneurysm. No more parodies. Anyways, guys, that'll be it. Can't wait to see what I review next week. God, I really have a headache. I need to get some Advil. Stick to the end of the credits, see what I'm reviewing next week. Peace.